All right, so welcome to Life It with DVD. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Today, I wanted to talk about something interesting that I had heard yesterday, and that was that 95%, or maybe it was a little bit less, 92% of the thoughts that you have in your head are not real. They're not things that are actually happening. And I think this is an incredible realization. So, are those thoughts in your head real? Are the things that are going on, that a lot of the times you look at as chatter in your head, things that we can do anything about, that are real, that are tangible, that are happening in the world, and we can actually do something about them. Or are we thinking about hypothetical scenarios, things that haven't happened, worrying about things that aren't real, having fears about things that just aren't going to happen at all? And I mean, if you're anything like me, I have lots of thoughts per day. A lot of them, are things that just aren't happening. That are just kind of hypothetical scenarios that aren't, playing out in the real world. But it's like my mind can turn them on as like a potential scenario, and kind of just go through it as like a simulation. And oftentimes, the way the simulation runs in my mind is, it doesn't play out exactly how I think. It sometimes plays out very similar to how I think, and what is going to happen. But a lot of the time, the things that are happening don't actually happen. So, I kind of wanted to go through, what is real, what is going on in our minds that, you know, we have these thoughts, and we play them out. So, I mean, obviously we've probably picked up this from an evolutionary standpoint of being able to kind of think about things that aren't real, play out scenarios, anticipate, right? It allows us higher thinking. So like this is an evolutionary trait that we have, been able to kind of use to advance ourselves. However, are we using it for things that are actually productive? Where, probably, back in the day when we were more primitive, we use that for hunting. We used these higher level thinking skills to anticipate actually, food, water, shelter sort of problems. Where now we're looking at these things where, they're probably more social, right? They're probably more social, and really don't involve a whole lot of survival. It's more of like emotional survival. Um, and if anything, it's probably the most, yourself survival, the ego's survival. So I think, that's probably why we have a lot of these thoughts that aren't real, that we can't do anything about, because this higher level thinking came from a place where we could use it and we needed it, but now we're just using it and replacing that with, you know kind of modified ideas from the entertainment we see, the things we see on the news, a lot of things that actually, don't concern us in our immediate vicinity, that are not key to our direct survival. And I think it's just important, as always, to be aware of these things, right? Why should we be aware that these thoughts aren't real? Well, I mean, that helps us realize that, uh, we're we're not really concentrating on the things that matter most of the time. We're not being present in the moment and actually thinking about the things that we can control. We're telling ourselves stories. We're entertaining ideas. We're entertaining simulations in scenarios that have not come to pass. They, they are things that we've created in our mind with a story, right? And usually that story is from some sort of programmed archetype or something that we have experienced, an idea that we have experienced in society that we associate with, that we feel, that embodies us to a degree. And these can be empowering things, or they can be negative self-talk. These can be stories where we're putting ourselves down. And often I ask myself, where do all these like negative thoughts come from? Well, I mean, it doesn't take much to like look out at the news and see what they talk about, which is like death, destruction, and chaos most of the time. How often do they talk about things that um, that we're grateful for, just basic needs, food on the table, a roof over our heads, and focusing in our family, right? Why don't we be thankful for those things when we have them? And it's a matter of focus. It's a matter of capturing your attention. And I've talked about this numerous times, but what the news does is it captures our mind. It entertains our mind with things that aren't real, that aren't immediate, and are extremely rare, right? Things that are outliers in the spectrum of the real, right? So that just means that we, once again, that comes back to we are not focusing on the things that we can control, that are in front of us. And ultimately, that's what we do need to be focusing on as much as possible. These thoughts, these fears, all of these things, they are imagined. They are a story. And we need to be able to challenge these thoughts and just be aware and ask ourselves, like, is this a story I'm telling? Is this something I can do anything about? Is this something I can do today, focus on, that I can control? And if it's not, we need to try to move on from that thought. We need to try to break that cycle, and realize that we can only control the things that we can focus on, right? For the things that we can't, right? The things we can't control that are in other people's power, we need to let these things go. We need to let these things emotionally go, right? And if we can emotionally let them go, then the thoughts might stop conditioning our body to start to relax. So the key here is, how do we break these patterns? How do we focus on the things that actually that we can do something about, that 7%, right? That is not chatter of the brain and actual problems that we can solve. Well, I mean, as always, this is meditation. This is journaling, right? This is breath work, bringing yourself back to the present. This is also exercise. This is simple things such as walking, running, weightlifting, any sort of sport, right? Anything that can get us into our body and out of the mind, right? Where the mind shuts off and we just let the body take over, let the body do what feels natural to it. Right? This will empty the mind. It'll allow the mind to reset and focus on the present moment. And also, as I was alluding to, practicing gratitude, practicing focusing on the things that you're thankful for and feeling good about that. How often has entertainment just turned good things against us, where instead of focusing on the roof over our head, actually being concerned, oh, our house isn't big enough, like, oh, we need a bigger house, we need more space, oh, like, I wish I had a house like the person down the street, or Oh my gosh, my spouse is so annoying, or my kids are driving me crazy, right? Not actually, flipping the story, right, and being focused on, I'm so happy I have a spouse, I'm so happy I have kids, right? Focusing on, the positive qualities, the gifts and the blessings that these things are, because you've put yourself in that situation. And you know hey, maybe your, relationships, or your house, or the food, right? You could also look at your food and say, oh, I hate this food, whatever, I want better food, I want to go out to the restaurant, whatever, right? It's flipping the script and focusing on, wow, I'm so happy I have food, I'm so happy I have family, I'm so happy I have a roof over my head, and just being present with that thought, being present and actually feeling good about it. And to do that, though, right, you need to be present. You can't just put on the TV, you can't just put on the news, um, because when we do those things, our mind goes unconscious, and we just let in all these, like, these stories, these negative ideas. They bypass our, I forget what it's called in the brain, but they bypass our awareness, and we just unconsciously take these ideas in as if they are ours, that it's an original thought. Um, so, ultimately, this is about being present, getting into the body, being thankful for things, being conscious, also talking with other people, right? Being present doesn't have to be being alone. This also means, talking with other people. Talk about things that, are outside of the entertainment, right? Talk about how they're doing, their thoughts, their feelings, right? Because at least if you're talking about, these things with other people, you're at least assessing whether these things are real or not. And I mean, ultimately, these can be things that are playful too. Using your imagination to create a fun story, but something that isn't just a programmed news bite or entertainment piece that is just like sopping in negativity and like death, destruction, and chaos. I say often that if we could just get rid of the media, get rid of the news, I wonder how many problems in our world would actually just disappear. Uh, and it wouldn't mean all of them would, for sure, but ultimately, if you just turn things off and you focused on what was in front of you, you would be forced to be present with the things that are in front of you in your life, in your community, and that would allow you to regulate yourself, regulate the things that you can control potentially. Not the things that are in another city or state or country that you literally have no control over and might be concerning you. Um, so, I'm not saying turn things off completely, but maybe if you're just having too much of these negative thoughts, just, maybe do a little bit of a dopamine detox and just shut things off, right? Focus on the things in front of you, the things you can control. And anyway, I wanted to share this message because I just thought that, gosh, if that's true, that 95 or 92% of our thoughts are just things that are simulations, just things that are completely outside of our control, right? That's something that we can work on, right? Be aware of, try to refine, and practice some of these tips of breaking the pattern and getting more back into ourself and our body. So if you like this, let me know. Like and subscribe, and let me know what you might do to kind of break these thought patterns and focus on the things that you can control. It'd be interesting to hear. So until next time, I will talk to you later.